This is one of the most exciting drill programs I've been part of, not because it's unique that we're drilling virgin potential discovery holes, which will be the most rewarding, but the scale of the system is bigger than anything I have pursued in my career. And that's really been the appeal and the perseverance that we took on to get to this point.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
And welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. We are sitting down for a major sponsor update from Ivan Bebek, CEO of Coppernico Metals. Ivan, hey, the picture behind you, the drills are turning.
Yeah, Kerry, it's an incredible achievement, especially in Peru. We had first set foot on this project 9 years ago and started to identify the opportunity, and we're ready to drill it in 2020, unfortunately, as soon as COVID hit. But the best news is that the drill's actually turning. This video behind me is almost real time, and we're starting to see the first few meters of what we're drilling. And so a very, very pivotal point for the company. And I look forward to our interview here today.
Yeah, and the listing is on its way. You actually have a stock symbol on the TSX now, COPR.
Yeah, so a couple of things have happened. I mean, if you followed our news releases, even though we weren't trading publicly, we've had a series of major milestones met since November. We had two senior executives from BHP, one of the largest mining companies in the world, to join our team at the board level. This certainly expands our capacity to explore and look for things that could matter to companies like that caliber of a BHP or some of the other majors. Secondly, from that, the two people joining, we've finally got boots on the ground in early February. And as much as it's exciting to turn the drill bit for the first time, and that's really a sensational moment as an entrepreneur and as an explorer and as a shareholder. As you can see behind me now, we've got our first few meters of core starting to come in. The event and the team and the way it came together and what we're seeing on the project, in addition to what we're drilling, is really complementing the scale of this massive system and so much robust exploration opportunities that we haven't even touched on yet. So not only are we going to get to drill a very, very big system continuously for the next 12 months, we're also going to be able to expose some other considerable targets that we're finding in and beyond the system so far. So things really, really have scaled on us in terms of size. The grade has been visually, very appealing in various parts of the property, and being back there to work with both the drilling and the exploring, it's kind of a dream from our perspective. And as a shareholder, the only way you can really make that home run potential, the best way to do it actually is while drilling. Every month we will have a drill turning here. In the next 12 months, we're funded to drill at least 30 holes, possibly more. The program's going to be very dynamic. We're drilling in areas that have a thin layer of cover. So it's kind of like if anybody has reading glasses, if you look at something without the reading glasses, you see it blurry, but once you drill through it, we're starting to see really good resolution on the rocks and seeing where we are in the system and where to go, pursue the copper and gold mineralization that we've seen so abundant on surface. So this is one of the most exciting drill programs I've been part of, not because it's unique that we're drilling virgin potential discovery holes, which will be the most rewarding, but the scale of the system is bigger than anything I have pursued in my career. And that's really been the appeal and the perseverance that we took on to get to this point. Having set foot on the project 9 years ago, we've been through quite a bit of capital, almost $40 million to get here. And we've been through various personnel. It's tough for people to stay on a project this long and for it to finance it. So we're in really, really good shape. The drill's turning, the core is starting to come in, and we're super excited. We're just in the first few meters, and that part is great. We don't know enough to comment on it obviously yet, except for the technical side of it. They would like to see more drills added, in a timely process, because there's so much excitement around the targets we're going to go after. So very exciting time, very strong team from the board level down. We've refreshed a lot of people on our team as well at the management level, so that we have fresh eyes and fresh perspectives on very, very good work that was done previously. But truly, this is falling on perfect market timing for a world-class copper discovery.
I would assume it would have to be something very special for you to spend 9 years, and it's a roller coaster, right? There's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of frustrations, and yet, like you said, you persevered.
Yeah, it's a good point to make. And I've had the luxury of being around some very smart people in industry, the likes of Ross Beatty and the late Lucas Lundin. Something that really stood out for me in the final year, which was the toughest year to hang on to this project and get it through the permitting when everybody was sure we wouldn't get here. It was the comments around the history of phyllo mining and the 22 years before they hit the big hole and their share price went from $3 to $25 a share. That's a long time. That's a longer time than the 9 years we took. And, if I look back in the 25 years I've been in the business, the big ones take time. There was always a challenge, whether it's social permitting or, logistical challenges to physically get there. It takes a lot of visionary perseverance to get through. And the best part about it, Kerry, is we're here now. And although 9 years is a long time, it's almost half my career. It's the next 9 years that are going to be really history making if we get it right. And that gives us, a lot to think about. There's three factors that are in front of us. One is, how fast do we drill? And, how do we strategically identify the scale of the system early and monetize that in our share price? That's number one on the top of what we're going to do here. What happens if you find something and it's big and you have great currency, but the trade takeover transaction is not there? We're looking at other assets. We would like to consolidate some really good assets in industry if we got currency and we're taken out by a major mining company. And the last part is finding these things are extremely rare. 9 years to get to this point. If you're a new investor, you have to look at this and say, well, the drills are turning. I get to capitalize on 9 years and about 35-40 million spent before this first drill program. I get to save all the time it took to identify and get to the drill bit. And every month for the next 12 months or possibly much longer, I get to experience the potential super lotto ticket. And the way the results are going to come, they're going to come informative, and we're going to get indications that we're there or we're not there. We're going to get opportunities to drill something that's really, really obvious for us as a big discovery. And we're going to hope to see that very early. But this is a skarn system and likely or potentially a big porphyry system as well. But skarns are variable, and that's something that has, turned off a lot of people to chase them. And what that variability means is it can take 5 or 6 holes or 20 or 30 holes before you hit that first discovery. And the only way to mitigate that risk in that time frame is to have enough capital to go out and take that on in good market timing. And we certainly have both of those. The one part I do like about skarns and first learning about them is they have grade more often than not. And in the case of Sombrero, we have grade at surface. And this is a skarn system that's, daylighting on surface in various areas through erosional windows. That's really compelling to us because it increases the probability of potential success. It gives us a lot better shot at finding something that could be very rich right on surface. And then the infrastructure in the region is outstanding, with power lines going right through the property, 3 multiple water sources nearby, 2 towns nearby for a workforce. And, it's been an honor to be here as an explorer in somebody else's backyard. And the way we got through is not a mystery anymore, but we brought agricultural programs through grants from the government into the Andes. And these programs have been very beneficial, and they'll be sustainable long after we're gone in the event that this wasn't a major discovery. But right now we have a large treasury. We're funded for at least 12 months of drilling continuously, and we have capital to October in next year. So we are in a very, very strong position, which is very unique to the sector. The fact that we are drilling, we're funded, and we have working capital to almost the end of next year. And that time frame is very important because we're, my view, we're at the pivotal turning point of the resource sector. We're coming out of about a 12-year bear market, going to the next leg up in precious and base metals, as you're seeing in recent moves in both copper, gold, and silver. You're seeing demand come from the electrification initiatives. You're seeing the precious metal counter US dollar inflationary, presence that it has. And you're starting to see all the right things that are happening. But at the same time, as I say that, there are junior resource companies that are closing the doors. They're done. They can't make it through. So it's a very unique environment, but very opportunistic one. And I guess why I just made that last statement is things are a lot cheaper now than they're going to be. And a lot of people like to buy things at perfect time, and I certainly do. But to get a hold of a good share position and a big opportunity, you have to buy early, and sometimes you have to ride the market down before it goes up. And the most important thing for me on this project was the development of fundamentals. Each layer that we applied of technical work got more and more supportive of our thesis that this could be the next Las Bambas, which is the 11th largest copper mine in the world. I mean, to even make that statement, in any way, shape, or form, and to have people joining us at the board level, senior executives from BHP, that kind of compliment to the team, that's really outstanding for us, and it gets exciting. And so now we're running the drill, and unfortunately, it's lack of sleep when the markets are bad and you don't have permits, and it's lack of sleep when you get so excited that things could really work out.
Hey, and you got quite an impressive land package here, so this could kind of just be the tip of the iceberg, huh?
Yes, absolutely. This could be just the beginning, and that's the other thing that we don't talk too much about, because we get to drill 7 kilometers continuous targeting from what we've identified at surface to start, which is substantial in size. But we have another 4 kilometers that will add to that once we get additional permits. So you're going to see an evolution of permits and additional targets through that land package. We've had a chance to start looking at the rest of the land package and evaluating what we keep and what we don't keep. It's an expensive land holding to hold on to. It costs us about $600,000 a year just to pay for the claims. And so we want to be very efficient and rationalize all of our land that we have and stick to the things that we can drill within the next 3 years that could complement this system, and watch out that we don't get caught up too much in long-term expensive land holding exercises. But we couldn't really do this up until we got to work on the project, and we're already seeing new things in new areas, and it's a very robust system.
Yeah, no substitute for boots on the ground, but there was some historic drilling there a while back, and that's what kind of tipped you off to this project.
Yeah, so great comment, and really that's the history here. This project was under a government survey done by the Peruvian government. They actually age dated the mineralization of when the mineralized the copper and gold formed to be much, much younger than it actually was. It's about 40 million years old, which is the Eocene era. And that era of when these deposits are formed is critical, especially when looking at mines like Las Bambas, Tintaya, Constancia next door. And if it doesn't fit in that box, a lot of people will look past it. We took a chance, and we just kept seeing copper and gold on surface, and that was our benchmark to look further. And we started doing channel sampling, and we would sample 100 to 200 meters of really, really rich copper and gold. And that's what drove us to go ahead. And then we came upon these drill holes at the end of our first effort of exploration, right before we were going to apply for drill permits. And these drill holes were drilled for iron, and they were never sampled for copper. And they're right on the edge of the system that give us a speculation or a chance to fingerprint the rest of the targeting. And we were the first to sample those for copper. And the reason why they weren't sampled previously is because the Iron Explorer, once you see copper in your iron, it's metallurgically not extractable efficiently or economically. So we sampled it, and it matched the grades on surface, and it gave us that thrilling excitement that the discovery could be already there. So this is more of an expanding discovery exercise than trying to make something completely new. And that was also the edge that had helped us finance and persevere through COVID times and tough capital environments to get to this point we are today. So there is economic or perceived economic copper and gold mineralization in the third dimension. It supports the rest of our targeting of what we're doing. There's some very, very good exposure on surface, and we're now just running the drill to see if we can find, large amounts of what's there, what's already been discovered in several new areas. And the best part about this project is there's so many places to have a big discovery along it. Some of the larger mines in the world are 1 to 3 kilometers long. We're exploring 7 kilometers of strike length in this first targeting phase, and we will have drill results coming as early as September.
Wow, that's quick. Hey, so how deep are you going to go here? What depth?
Good question. Yeah, good question. We see reason to go from surface quite deep in our targeting, but we're focusing on the first vertical 300 meters, which will be about an average depth of 350 to 400 meters per hole. So that's where we plan to drill about 16 holes or more by the end of this year, and then continue on with another 15 holes in the first half of next year. But we're targeting everything near surface. That's the low-hanging fruit. If we do see something with incredible grade that tells us to keep going a bit deeper, that could really scale the project and fits in a reasonable economic sense, the near-term timeframe, we'll go after that as well. And then lastly, there's a lot of talk right now, and it's quite speculative, about a causative intrusion being nearby. To form all of the copper and gold mineralization in the system, sometimes there's these engines underground which which bring up the mineralization, and that would be more than likely a causative porphyry that's created all of this. So there's targets there. There's no shortage of targets. And the best part about all of what I just said is we can drill 30 holes testing all those aspects here as we go into a potentially rising metals market. So the financing we did was the real key aspect to starting this project on the right foot. Tech Mining bought in as a 9.9% investor. I think that's a very, very substantive endorsement. Not only do they have operations in Peru, but they were on the project back in 2018, and they have some experts that are quite familiar with the region. Their endorsement was competitive amongst 3 other majors that were trying to come in and get a piece of the deal or joint venture the project from us. And so it came in on fair terms for both sides, and having them in the background, it opens up a lot of possibilities, if we get it right. But as an explorer, you want third-party validation. No matter how good the rocks look to you, you want to know that they can look good to somebody else, and strong bias can form, especially over time on a good exploration project. So bringing tech in certainly gives us a very, very respectful third-party validation from a very smart company with a very deep technical sense of great discovery. So that's where we sit today. Both Tech owns 9.9, Newmont owns about 6.2% of the company. We're in touch with both of them on a fairly regular basis as we go and drill this. And there's about 3 other major miners watching closely in the background. And, big mines are much harder to find now than they were about a decade or 2 decades ago. A lot of the more exposed discoveries have been made. And a lot of capital is kind of died in the exploration sector and hasn't made it to the drill bit as much as we really wanted to see. So these things take a long time to put online. They're rare to find if we get it right. And the greatest thing about Sombrero is it has a very big if. If you start getting it right, it could be world-class in that top 20 kind of mine exploration projects in the world. And that's what we're shooting for here.
Hey, and while the earnings of the majors are coming in really well, like Newmont, it doesn't solve the problem of dwindling reserves, dwindling resources. So when they have a credible junior like Coppernico, they really have to back it. They almost don't have a choice, do they?
Well, you know what? I think it comes down to they want a shot at it because the money, and I hate to say this, and every junior mining CEO is going to not like this comment, but it's one we're all living, is money's really hard to find, extremely hard to find, and especially in this environment. And that's the reality we're all facing. The easy part, I hate to say it, is the money. And the hard part is the asset. And I've been through bear markets before. I've been through the '08 correction. I've seen it all. And the one thing that is really hard, the rocks, to get an opportunity like this is worth more than the capital. So when looking at this with the majors and watching them all perform extremely well, having some incredible quarters at these new metal prices, we're in that sweet spot where there's a lot of money around, but importantly, there's a lot of supply missing on, especially quality supply. And you have to really use the word quality. Anything above 0.5% copper that's at surface with infrastructure, that's going to make the top thresholds of the better mines in the world that are being pursued or being mined. And that's what we're chasing here. So yeah, you can't, and then look at the time frame, the last point. Look at how long it took us. It took us 9 years to bring this project online from kicking the first rock, but 4 years to permit and drill with a hang up with COVID. And that's a remarkable thing you can't put a price on. So, we're in a position now with, potentially what everybody wants at a timing that looks like it could be much better than the last few years, and an opportunity in the supply curve to really capture some of the demand that's going to outweigh the supply here in the next 18, 24 months.
Hey, and as a shareholder here, the way things are shaping up, hey, who knows, maybe in a year or two, you'll have a bidding war where the majors are all going all in on this project. Because like you say, the rarity of something of this scale, this quality, it just isn't there.
Absolutely. And so, if it's there and it's big enough, not only could it create a competitive environment, but it could contribute to long-term copper needs globally for the planet. And that's something else we look at. I mean, the prize is huge. Third point is the people that it's going to impact, locally, seeing that potential positive, very positive benefit for them for multi-decades, multi-generations to come. This is a real special one. And it's, in my world, no matter how hard it's been more than worth the wait. And now it's that exciting part with the drill turning. Going back towards when can you actually trade the company shares, we are conditionally approved to list in the Toronto Stock Exchange. That's the main board. That's the large exchange in Canada. It's one of the best mining exchanges for companies in the advanced exploration state as we are. It'll give us tremendous access to capital, both retail and institutionally. Second point there is it'll be easier for you to trade it as a U.S. investor. There is a rule that we trade for at least 30 days in an international exchange before we can upgrade our U.S. symbol. So we're going to be looking to do that. And hopefully within 2 months, we have a U.S. symbol. And we would eventually likely pursue one to list on the NYSE Amex exchange. And we believe we'd meet all that criteria once we have 6 months of trading on the Canadian International Exchange. But the Toronto Exchange should be a lot easier for all investors to access on not just US, but also in Europe and other parts of the world. And we look forward to that. As far as timing, I can't be specific. We're at the final documentation. We've received the conditional listing. We're filing that in a timely manner and hope to be trading in the first 2 weeks of August. As of August 14th, if we don't list by then, there is a penalty of some warrants that we have to give out. And we feel very confident we're going to list before that deadline. So we're going to do what we can to get there. The exchange has been exceptional in dealing with us and getting us on a fairly timely basis. And, we're going to be in a very good position going into the fall, not just with drill results here, but to have 12 months of potential drill results that could indicate or give us or show us that we're on to that big discovery that we're talking about.
And not to mention TSX, liquidity-wise and spreads, it's much more favorable for traders and investors than lesser exchanges around the country and around the globe for that matter. So, well, definitely exciting times ahead. I'm glad I couldn't trade my shares for the past few years because I held on to them, and I'm expecting good things coming. Hey, you want to go over to Coppernico Metals, that's COPPERNICO metals.com. Sign up for the notifications, get those drill results right away. And again, the symbol on the TSX will be COPR, and we'll see what it comes up in the US as. Hey, maybe you'll pull it off again and you get the same symbol on both exchanges, which would be great, even though it's a little more difficult when you're looking up to see the price.
Yeah, well, thank you, Kerry. And just a special thank you to all our shareholders. I know it's been tough. It's been a long wait. I'm there with you. I've put in a substantial amount as well. And I run this company as a shareholder as well as a CEO, because that's where we all win in the end, is by share price performance. But I just want to thank everyone for their patience. And I want to thank all of our stakeholders that helped us get through and believed in us that we would do this the right way in Peru, and the Peruvian government agencies that have helped us get through permits, even though it's taken some time, but in a very respectfully, timely manner. We see Peru changing and going in a very, very positive direction towards exploration and permitting, and that's something we're living firsthand. So we're very thankful to that, and we're thankful to the board and the team that stuck with us. And so we're really excited. Thank you all for your patience. And now it's up to the drill bit and what we can do with what we find, and if we can find it big enough. But thank you very much.
All right. Hey, and I just looked at my shares. I just put them up on a shelf in the vault, just left them there, and knowing one day, just like my physical metal, this was going to pay off. And hopefully we're closer to it now than we've ever been.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Appreciate all your support.
The Financial Survival Network.